The infinity of the universe manifests itself with billions of stars in the sky. Throughout human history, these shimmering celestial bodies have aroused mankind's sense of curiosity and led to profound contemplation. The mysterious and enchanting sight of the sky has inspired people to search for their place in the cosmos and embark on quests for meaning. The feeling of curiosity fuels humanity's desire for the unknown. As a result of this desire, people have made various discoveries, expanded knowledge, and attempted to understand the world. However, some subjects continue to captivate the human mind. One of these subjects is astrology. Astrology is an ancient belief system that emerged from humanity's interest in the positions and movements of stars in the sky. People believed that celestial bodies influenced their lives, and this belief facilitated the birth and spread of astrology. Astrology is a belief system that holds that the stars and planets in the sky affect human life and events on Earth. It involves interpreting personality traits, destiny, and events based on the positions of stars and planets at the time of a person's birth. The fundamental principle of astrology is based on the belief that the stars and planets in the sky influence events on Earth. According to astrology, a specific position of the sky at the time of a person's birth affects their personality traits, behaviors, and destiny. These positions are recorded in a chart called a birth chart, and astrologers interpret this chart to provide personalized advice. Astrology is often based on the movements of 12 zodiac signs and the planets associated with them. Each sign is thought to be associated with specific personality traits and behavior patterns. Additionally, astrology analyzes the relationships between planets and signs and interprets how these relationships are reflected in people's lives. During the ancient civilizations period, astrology developed as a result of people's interest in the sky and stars. Ancient civilizations such as Mesopotamia, Egypt, China, and India developed various astrological systems by observing the movements of stars and planets in the sky. These civilizations believed that celestial movements influenced events on Earth and human life. The practice of associating important events such as the timing of agricultural activities, royal decisions, and even wars with celestial positions has been widespread. The astrological systems of ancient civilizations are often closely linked with mythology and religion. For example, in Mesopotamia, the Sumerians and Babylonian civilizations used astrology to predict the future by observing the movements of the gods in the sky. Similarly, in Egypt, it was believed that the movements of the sun god Ra and other gods influenced people's destinies. Astrology became a part of these civilizations' lives and was tightly integrated with societal, cultural, and religious practices. During the ancient Greek and Roman periods, astrology played a significant role and had influence in both scientific and cultural spheres. Greek and Roman societies expanded upon the astrological tradition inherited from previous civilizations and introduced new interpretations. Greek philosophers approached astrology as a science and studied the effects of celestial movements on humans. Great philosophers of ancient Greece, such as Plato and Aristotle, used astrology in their attempts to understand the workings of the universe. For instance, they proposed ideas suggesting that the planets and stars in the sky could influence human life. In ancient Rome, astrology also became an integral part of society and was widely accepted throughout the Roman Empire. Astrology in Rome was used to guide the decisions of political leaders and kings and to interpret the fate of the people. Astrologers provided counsel to the highest authorities of the Roman Empire and disseminated astrological teachings. In addition to politics, astrology had an impact on art, literature, and architecture in ancient Greece and Rome. The association of mythological figures with celestial movements and the use of astrological symbols were common in artworks and literary works. However, in ancient Greece and Rome, the interest in astrology was shaped more by religious and cultural beliefs than scientific approaches. During this period, astrology was not considered a science but rather a tool for determining fate and cosmic forces. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance periods, astrology held significant importance and was widely accepted in Europe. Throughout the Middle Ages, both the church and monarchy supported astrology, with many priests and members of royalty taking an interest in it. Astrology played a crucial role for almost every stratum of society, with political leaders, kings, nobles, and commoners believing in the influence of celestial movements on human life. Astrologers wielded great influence within society, providing counsel and making predictions about destinies. Throughout the Middle Ages, astrology was often intertwined with religious beliefs and considered part of the universal order. However, during the Renaissance period, advancements in science and rational thinking led to a decline in interest in astrology. Renaissance thinkers, during what is considered a period of scientific and intellectual awakening, began to question and criticize the foundations of astrology. Particularly, developments in the science of astronomy and advancements in observation techniques provided a basis for questioning astrology. Now, let's examine why astrology is considered scientifically inaccurate. We can assert that there is a relationship between the discovery of classical physics and the exposure of astrology's fallacy. This is because the development of classical physics significantly altered our understanding of astronomy and celestial events, challenging the fundamental principles of astrology. The discovery of classical physics began in the early 17th century with the work of scientists such as Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, and Isaac Newton. During this period, new theories about the workings of the universe were developed and expressed mathematically. Fundamental laws like Newton's law of gravitation were used to explain the movements of celestial bodies and the orbits of planets. Newton's universal law of gravitation states that every object interacts with other objects through a force of attraction, with the strength of this force determined by the masses of the objects and the distance between them. For instance, the movements of the Sun and planets are determined by the gravitational force they exert on each other. This law is used to mathematically explain the large-scale structures of the universe and the movements of planets. However, the claimed gravitational force in astrology differs from Newton's law of gravitation. While astrology alleges that celestial bodies influence human life, it fails to provide any physical mechanism or scientific evidence for how these influences occur. The development of classical physics allowed for a better understanding of celestial movements and prompted questioning of the fundamental claims of astrology. Furthermore, with the advancement of astronomy, the movements of celestial bodies became more accurately observable, leading to questioning the validity of astrology's fundamental claims. Classical physics relies on precise scientific principles based on observation and experimentation. Astrology, on the other hand, is based on claims that cannot be tested with scientific methods and remain unverified. Presenting claims that are not observable, testable, or repeatable, astrology does not adhere to scientific standards. Astronomy and astrology are two distinct disciplines that study the heavens and celestial bodies, but there are significant differences between them. Astronomy is a scientific field that examines the universe using observations, experiments, and mathematical models. Astronomers employ scientific methods to understand the structure, movements, and formation of the universe. Astrology, on the other hand, is based on observations of the sky but interprets them not through scientific methods but through mythological, mystical, or symbolic interpretations. Astrologers claim that retrograde motions of planets influence human lives. However, scientifically, this claim is unsupported. Retrograde motion is a relative phenomenon where a planet appears to move backward at a different speed compared to other celestial bodies, but it does not actually move backward. In astrology, it is claimed that changes in a planet's orbit affect human life. However, this claim is not scientifically valid. Changes in planetary orbits usually do not have directly observable effects on Earth and do not predictably affect human life. Astrology asserts that the positions of stars at the time of birth have a determining influence on personality traits. However, scientific research does not support this claim. Factors that determine a person's personality are based on more scientific explanations such as genetic inheritance, environmental influences, life experiences, and complex brain chemistry. Astrology makes interpretations about personality traits and future based on the sun's zodiac sign at the time of birth. However, these interpretations lack scientific validity and are not supported by empirical evidence. However, scientifically, there is no evidence that the position of the sun has an impact on personality. Additionally, astrology has different systems of sun signs in many cultures, which indicates that astrology is not a consistent science. Therefore, claims such as retrograde in planetary orbit in astrology are not scientifically supported and are entirely speculative. Due to the lack of scientific foundation in astrology, there are no reliable scientific evidence regarding the accuracy or validity of these claims. Astrology claims that the movements of planets and other celestial bodies influence events on Earth and human life. However, scientifically, this claim is not logically sound due to the vast distances of celestial bodies millions of kilometers away. The distance of a planet or star implies that it does not have a direct effect and does not determine human life. Astrologers claim they can predict the future based on the positions and angles of planets. However, scientific studies indicate that the predictive ability of astrology is no better than random guesses. The reliability and accuracy of astrological predictions are not measurable to a scientific level. Planets claimed to be influential in astrology are located far within the solar system. For example, planets like Mars or Saturn are millions of kilometers away, and this distance does not have an effect on any individual's life on Earth. The positions and angles of planets are not physically close enough to affect human life. Zodiac signs are a fundamental component of astrology, and astrology is a belief system. However, when approached from a scientific methodology, there is no evidence that zodiac signs have any power or reality to influence human life. Some individuals believe that zodiac signs guide them or help them understand their personalities better. These beliefs may stem from cultural backgrounds, inherited beliefs from families, or personal experiences. Some people use zodiac signs as a guide to predict the future or support their decisions. The predictions provided by zodiac signs can help individuals feel more secure or reduce uncertainties they experience. Zodiac signs have become a widespread phenomenon in many cultures. Therefore, some individuals may choose to believe in zodiac signs to conform to social norms or to be part of popular culture. Zodiac signs are often used to interpret personality traits or predict the future. However, astrologers often use very general and vague statements about zodiac signs. These generalizations are not based on any scientific foundation as they are flexible and open enough to apply to anyone, lacking real scientific validity. Zodiac signs are based on the position of the sun in the sky during a specific time period. However, there is a discrepancy between astronomical facts and the characteristics of zodiac signs. For example, the zodiac signs known as sun signs do not align with their actual astronomical positions. A birth chart, as part of astrology, is a graph showing the positions and relationships of planets in the sky at the time of birth. However, when approached from a scientific methodology, birth charts lack a scientific basis, and there is no evidence that they influence human life. Scientific research has conducted various experiments to test the predictive ability of birth charts. However, these experiments have shown that birth charts are no more successful in predicting real-life events than random guesses. The celestial positions in birth charts are based on the positions of planets and stars millions of kilometers away. This distance is not close enough to directly impact human life. There is no scientific mechanism or evidence to support the idea that celestial bodies influence human life. Astrology does not rely on observable and measurable scientific principles. There is no scientific mechanism or evidence explaining how and why birth charts affect human life. Therefore, birth charts are not considered a scientific discipline. There is a connection between zodiac signs and constellations, but these connections have significant differences between astrological beliefs and scientific facts. Constellations are areas where specific stars are grouped in the sky. Astronomers catalog and observe stars based on constellations. Astrology, on the other hand, interprets people's personalities and lives using the constellations in the sky, planets, and other celestial bodies. In Western astrology, there are 12 zodiac signs, and each sign corresponds to a time period when the sun is in a constellation. However, this relationship between zodiac signs and constellations does not completely align with astronomical reality. For example, the Aries sign is considered to be from March 21st to April 19th, regardless of the actual constellation the sun is in during that time. Constellations denote the physical connections between stars and are usually defined based on the positions of stars in the sky. However, they do not possess any power to influence human life or determine personality traits, as claimed. Therefore, the assertion in astrology that a planet can affect human life is not scientifically supported. Scientific methods and evidence indicate that astrological claims are either coincidental or misleading. Don't forget to subscribe for fresh scientific content.